Welcome to Product Acquisition here at ITX.
The ultimate measure of impact or success is growth. What does growth really mean? It turns out it depends on who you ask the question to. If you ask product folks, they talk about growth in terms of an increase in usage of the product. You talk to customer success, and they're often talking about how they've grown the value of their product or how engagement. Last night I was at dinner with a wonderful team, and I asked them what measure do they use to measure their own success. And this was the product team actually talking about customer metrics, engagement. I was quite impressed with that, but I still couldn't connect the dots to impact. I asked my VP of sales this morning how we are doing. It's the end of the quarter. And he goes, Usha, we've grown our bookings by 30%. And I say, Doug, that's great, but what about revenue? And he had to pause for a moment before he could answer the question. Let's step back and think about what success really means from a company perspective. We looked at all of our individual metrics, but what is it from a company perspective? Company growth is actually quite simple in a SaaS business. It's really the difference or the increase in recurring revenue over a period of time. We're looking at a $100 million business here. At the end of the year, when it grows to $120 million, it grew by 20%. It added $20 million in recurring revenue. How do you get from point A to point B? With three simple components. Let's get the bad stuff out of the way first, churn. Every SaaS business has churn, unless it's just starting out, right? So churn is an inevitable fact of life. You've got to manage churn. But the glass half full tells you that you're retaining a whole bunch of customers while you're losing some. And that is very valuable. That's the most valuable form of revenue because that compounds year over year. So the first component of growth is retention. The second component of growth is my favorite component, which is expansion. I like it because you earn it. You don't sell it. Expansion can come in many different ways. Success underpins expansion. We drive expansion in our business in these 4 different ways. One is through simply taking price increases in your base price. You earn it because you innovate. You add more IP to your product. You take it to your customers holistically. When you're delivering complex solutions, you can't go and piecemeal a feature and nickel and dime your customers. You got to figure out how you can extract value through different ways, bundled ways. Price increase is one of them. Usage, of course, is where you put skin in the game. If we can increase the usage of our product, you can command a higher price for your product. Usage-based pricing is becoming quite common in the industry right now, especially with AI. Upsells and cross-sells contribute to expansion too. Upsells are just selling more functionality to your customers. Cross-sells come from your customer saying, I love this product, I'm going to take it to other divisions within my business. All of those buckets collectively form the second component of growth, expansion. And the third component of growth is actually the most interesting component. It's the most exciting component because that brings energy into your business. And that's new business. That is where you bring new logos, new customers, new perspectives into your business. So growth, success actually is quite simple at a company level, especially when you're a SaaS business. It consists of these 3 main components. And the industry has come up with 3 standard metrics to measure this growth. Gross revenue retention, which is a measure of how well you can preserve your customers. Net revenue retention, which shows how much value you're creating for your customers. And new ARR, which reflects your competitiveness in the market. Now, it sounds like it's only 3 components, but really there's a 4th component that matters just as much, if not more these days. Growth at all cost. Is jacked. It's dead. Investors are not looking at companies to grow fast. They want them to grow smart. They want them to grow efficiently. And efficiency has become a really important metric these days of growth. That represents how resilient you can be as a business. So if you want to create real impact in your roles, you got to be able to tie the metrics that you measure day to day within your own functions and tie it back to the big four. And with that, I'll leave you with a question to think about. And if we have time at the end, we'll take some questions from you or we'll collect some thoughts from this audience. Can you think of one metric that sits in your world today which you can connect to one of these four company-level growth metrics? If you can do that, that means you can find purpose in your job.